So today I've come down to the lake and I want to try a couple of new things. The first thing I want to try is a new film from the guys over at Dragon. They sent me three rolls of their latest film, which is, they call it their Dragon No. 7 film, V11. And it's a limited edition. It's actually SFLaB A2SH ISO 400 film. So I'm going to be trying this out today. And I've also bought myself a little electronic one for my Nikon cameras, F90X, the F6, the F5, and it cost me £20. And it's perfect for what I want today, and this is why I've got it. It's to shoot sort of birds and wildlife. And I've come down to the lake today to get photographs of pigeons. And having this wireless controller means that I can be away from the camera. I don't have to be close to it. Last time I did pigeons, I had a cable release and I was quite close to them, and it was okay, but I was scaring the pigeons. So this time I could be at least 30 feet away, press the button and do some exposures on the pigeons. So let's see what we can get. So my plan's pretty easy. I'm going to put the camera on the floor. When I hit that shutter button, I've got a feeling they're going to fly off, which is great. So I'm going to put this in burst mode and literally whack this film out pretty quick. So the first shot will get them doing whatever they do, and if that does scare the pigeons, the next few shots in burst mode will get them flying off. So we'll see, you know, take your chances and see what you get. And of course, I've got the all-important bird seed, so we'll throw some of that down, entice them a little bit, just so they can get used to me and the camera. Right, so I'm all set up, ready to go. I'm not sure what to expect, but we'll soon find out. I just scared them and took a photograph. I don't know what I got. So I've got the enlarger head up as high as I can go, and you can see where I'm cropping. It's that crazy bird in the middle. It just looks, I can go wherever I like. I can put that anywhere I like on this easel. So I've got a little pigeon there, a big one there flying off, and I haven't got much at the top, so I don't really want too much of the floor, but that's as cropped in as I can go, but that'll be fine. And in it goes, as if by magic. So we'll watch this come through and see how this looks. It's going to be quite gritty and raw. I developed this in Rodno. If anyone's going to use this film, I use Rodno 1:50, and I shot this at 200. This film, not at 400. I shot it at 200, and I developed for 15 minutes in Rodno. I gave it 5 inversions to start, and then just 3 slow inversions from there on. I believe it's a surveillance film, so generally these films are quite punchy, I find. So I didn't want to sort of overdo it with the inversions or the times. So, but 15 minutes, 5 inversions to start, and then 3 slow inversions every minute. And I got some nice negatives out of this film. So if anyone's going to use it, that's what I did with Rodno. Yeah, I don't know how that's coming out on the video camera. Maybe looking more contrasted than it is, but under this light, I really like the contrast. Quite highlighty up in this area, but like I said, it is one of those sort of films. I love the way this pigeon's just sort of like got his wings spreading, his tail going off there. Look, I'm going to try one more and do a little bit of dodging around this pigeon here, and then I'll probably burn this area in up here with a contrast 0 filter for another 15 seconds. Just try and burn the out of that. So there's my little dodge tool there. So I'll just go around the pigeon, as you'll see as I go along, for about 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and down onto his tail area. So I'm just lightening that pigeon up a bit. Let's just do 10 seconds, 15, I'm going to do 20 seconds with that contrast 0 up in the corner there where it was quite dense. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks much better. I've dodged that wing. I mean, even the first one looked nice, but just by dodging that bird for about 20 seconds, I think, around the bird, a little bit around here, and then burning in up here, this highlight area, you can see the difference. I've managed to pull some inertia back into the paper, or some density, I should say, back into the paper there. It looks much better. I prefer this one. So that's the times that I'm sticking with. I really like that print. That's nice. But look at this. I really thought that I wouldn't be able to get this close to him. But here we go. I'll take a few shots with the trigger. Oh, I took an on shot there. They'll come back. Oh, hear that, the shutter, it just got them freaked out a little bit. So I might, there you go, I'm going to put this on a burst. Let's see what happens. So, 1, 2, 3. So I don't know how many that took, but they've all gone. So it's really convenient, this radio trigger. So I don't know what they'll come out like, but even if I get one good one out of the whole roll, it's worth it. Look at the swan. Let's tilt the camera up a little bit, we'll change the angle, we'll try and get them going away. And I'll put this on a burst mode. I'll just keep my finger pressed in it, I think. I don't know how many that took, I can't hear the camera. Okay, oh look at the swan. You fast swan. So I'll get him in there. There you go. I need to shoo the swan off. Go on, greedy sod. Well, I'm bigger than you. Yeah, I am. I'm still scared of you though. Go on, get in the water. Look, the pigeons over. These one's hissing at me. That surprised me that the pigeons are not worried about me at all. I could literally be right next to the camera and take my pictures. But let's get a bit of a flying shot. I don't know if I've got anything there. They'll come back. So we'll change the lens over. I'll go to a 35mm, get a bit closer in. I don't know what's happened, but all the pigeons they've gone. I don't know why. But yeah, how useful is this little thing? I've never really had much use for something like this because I've always been on a cable release close to the camera. Why would I need, to be 30 feet away from my camera? But for something like this, it's perfect, it's ideal. For 20 quid, it's definitely worth getting and putting in your bag for the camera that you've got. Now, this one is specific for a certain Nikon range of cameras, but on their website, I'll put a link in the description, and it's all about the cable. The transmitter and receiver are exactly the same, I think, but it's all about the cable. What cable goes into here or goes into the receiver and then into the camera. So you've got to make sure you get the right one for your camera. I think the game's over. There's no one else coming back. They might feel full up or something, but and there's a little boy down there. I'm going to give the rest of the seat to that little boy, and he can go and play with that. But for now, I'm going to pack my gear away and swap over to a 180mm lens and get some pictures of some birds and swans on this dragon film. So that night when I got home, I looked at the photographs and I thought about my shots and realised that when I startled the birds, they flew off in a particular direction. What if I went back, set my camera up in that direction so that they would then fly towards the camera? What a brilliant idea. So I went back to the lake the next day, which was frozen, and I set my gear back up, but this time with a plan. And after changing my camera angle and waiting for the birds, I got back in position and took my chances, but I realised the camera wasn't firing. So I'll have to be quick on the shutter, try and track the birds over there, and then when they come down and they start eating the feed, I can smash my foot on the floor, quickly jolt round the corner, and then hit the trigger button. I don't know, let's see what happens. I need to be a bit closer. But hang about, the instructions say that this is up to 30 metres range. I need to test this one out. So in my hand I've got the transmitter, this is the receiver, a little tiny green light comes on when it's picking up the signal, as you can see there, halfway. And that would be for your focusing. Press it halfway like a normal shutter, press it all the way in, takes a shot. Let's see how far I can walk away, how many meters, and still get signal. Brand new batteries inside. It's temperamental at 10, so that's about 15 meters and I'm out of range, unless it's because of the building here or what, I don't know. But these are brand new batteries. You just try another channel. I'd like it to reach that sort of distance, to be honest with you, but let's take all the channels off. We choose no channels. Yep, nothing there. One more channel. We'll try channel 4. Nothing. Ah, found a signal there. It's a bit temperamental this far, but I got one shot. So running out of seed and totally running out of range, I went to plan B, which was to invade someone else's fun. Now I don't know where they got their seed from, but it was working. And it seemed like this couple was having great fun until... So it's like these moments here when they fly away. If I go frame by frame, if my camera was, I needed to point it up slightly. I realised I had too much wasted ground. So just by pointing it up, I didn't want to get too much sky in, I suppose. But just there, I mean, look at the way this pigeon's looking here. You know, if I'd caught that, the sunlight on his eye is perfect. If I'd just caught that at the moment, but obviously full frame, got the whole thing in. And this guy over here, look. He's and he got one up here flying. I just find it fascinating. Let's go forward to another frame. Even this frame here, look at the way this pigeon's just sort of like peering over, and this one's looking, and you've got this one. You've got 3, 1, 2, 3, protecting the rest of the pigeons. They're protecting the food. And even this frame here, you've got this pigeon sort of, and then this one up here about to fly off. I just think they're so funny when you scare them. But to get that actual photograph, to snap it at that right time, you're going to be, you know, you use a lot of film, and if you don't want to use a lot of film, it might be worth going digital and seeing what you get, which is something I might do actually. I might try this on digital, because with digital, especially with one of my mirrorless cameras, I can burst off so many frames in a second. It's crazy. But for me personally, these sort of pigeons, I call them street rats. You know, I associate those with gritty streets, and that's exactly why I chose this area of the lake with that sort of derelict bench area which has been fenced off, probably because it's been condemned. That's why I chose that. I just wanted to get a little bit of grit in the photographs and have something rough within the image, rather than all this pretty green stuff and sky. And even this moment here that I've got a pigeon there, I've got a bird in flight, and even if I was to crop in, if I'd caught that on film, if I was to crop in, possibly make a nice photograph, you know. But I think the scene, the background, the sky, it just doesn't, you know, it'd be great if there was some street stuff going on, brickwork or something. And also the seed as well. When I'm putting seed down, you know, I'm conscious about the seed in the photograph. It sort of, it shows a telltale sign that I was doing this all on purpose. So, you know, maybe I could learn from that and think, well, next time I go out, I'll wait until the last pieces of seed maybe, and there's not much, and just angle the camera away from it and try and get those photographs. But it's all a learning curve. This is not something that I do on a regular basis, but I'll tell you what, it is great fun. I really do enjoy taking pictures of the pigeons and seeing what I get. So out of all those photographs that I took, there's 2 that I liked and 2 that I made prints of. One was the pigeon, which I showed you briefly making a print of. You guys on Patreon and YouTube members, there's a full darkroom session on there for you if you want to jump on there and see that. But I had to do some cropping in. Obviously, I can't control the compositions when pigeons are flying all over the place. So, you know, that's what yeah, that's what I got there with the pigeon. So I cropped in and I've made a nice print of that one. So like I said, out of all of those, there was two that I liked. And that's one of them. And the other one was the swan, which I didn't take on the shutter release. I took with a 180mm lens in my hand after I'd stopped recording, and got on my belly and took a picture of this beautiful swan over there, which is drying at the moment. I put another roll of film in the camera, took a few pictures of the swans, and then I went off to the beach and took a few more shots. And the reason I did that, I come back and I cut the film out of the camera just to do some development tests. So well done for the guys at Dragon for bringing these funky films out and respooling them, putting them on the market for us to try out. And also that radio trigger release. Now that ain't new technology, but it's new to me. I've never had one before, so I can certainly see the benefits in it, you know, going forward for those cameras that it's compatible for. So such as seascapes, some cloud photography, anything that I want to do sort of, you know, long exposures or even semi-long exposures where I don't have to have a cable, you know, touching the camera. So I can just sit near it and just press the button knowing that nothing's vibrating the camera whatsoever. And also for the bird photography as well. I think that's quite useful, even though where I was, those birds are used to human interaction, so it wouldn't have mattered if I was just standing right next to them doing this. I don't think they're quite used to humans, and they're hungry as well. But there's certain areas where those pigeons and birds, they're not used to that, to seeing humans feeding them and stuff, whatever, in the streets and whatever. So I think that will come into its own, and I'll have to go back and try that maybe in the town centre where these birds aren't being fed as much and they're a little bit more wary. So that's where it probably would come into more use. But what a nice little bit of kit to have anyway. I'll put a link in the description where you can get that. And they do them for all sorts of more modern SLRs and digital cameras as well. The only thing is you've got to make sure that you can hear your shutter fire, otherwise you don't know if you're taking a picture or not. So you could be wasting your complete load of time, like I was earlier on in this video when I was hiding behind that wall. I couldn't hear the shutter. I thought the camera was going off. When I went back, checked the exposure count, and it wasn't going up at all. So that's when I brought the camera forward. And some people might think, what a waste of film, you're just sitting there bursting. Well, what else can you do? You can't ask the pigeon to pose for you. So, you know, you take your chances. If you want to try and get a photograph of something unusual of a pigeon, you're just going to have to sit there and burst off a roll of film or two and see what you get. Luckily, I managed to come away with a couple of negatives that I liked. The rest of them, they was okay. But them two, I did like, even though I did have to crop into that one. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Those prints will be on my Etsy page. If anyone's interested in those, jump onto my Etsy. Another link in the description for you to jump onto there. Everything supports the channel and helps me keep making these videos. Thanks very much to all the Patreons and the YouTube members, and I'll catch you next time.